right, guys, I've got top of the hour. Good morning. Welcome to our 16th episode of our 20 for 2020 webinars, and glad to have you here today. I know many of you were on yesterday's where we talked about NFPA 1600 and documenting COVID-19 responses. Today is a little lighter topic, although extremely relevant in today's times as well. And before we get started, I see some familiar names I want to do a shout out to. So Sean Sims out at South Fayette in Pennsylvania. Welcome, Sean. I know you're a regular here on our presentations. And the awesome Chief Greg Owens out at Thomasville Fire Department. And then Ruth Woodward from Louisville. So glad to see you guys. I know I've been on site or worked directly with you in the past, so good to have you here. And I see Kervin just logged in, and he's been with us many times too on these webinars. So guys, glad to have you here today. And we've got a good presentation regarding social media. So let's jump right in. All right, here's our plan. I'm going to run a couple survey questions. Those of you who have joined us before know that I like to do this so we can just get some intel on who's participating. So we'll do that. And we'll go over the objective for today. I like to keep it short, sweet, and focused. We'll show you what that is today. And depending on if we have any potential members, new members of the emergency reporting family that are exploring us, we'll determine how much time I spend on the background of our system. Otherwise, we'll jump right into today's topic. And with that, here comes a few poll questions. First one, are you interested in joining the emergency reporting family, or are you a current ER customer? All right, we'll keep that poll open. If you're multitasking, look up, take a look. About half of you voted. There we go. All right, we're going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right, so it looks like we got almost everybody is a customer today. So we'll go past those slides very quickly so we can get into today's topic. Okay, coming up again. And what type of agency do you work for? Are you career, volunteer, combo, federal, DoD? All right, gonna close the poll in 3, 2, 1. We got a nice mix today. Half career, and then the other half are split evenly between volunteer and combo. So great, thank you guys. And focused on today's topic, does your department use social media? Yes, we have a program, we use it. No, not at all. Or yes, sort of, we do it when we can. All right, cool, almost everybody's voted on this one. Closing the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right, we got a good mix here. So most of you do have a pretty structured one, and we'll show you some good examples from customers and a couple in my region here in Arizona today too. We'll show some examples of where departments are being successful, especially during this time where everybody's pretty much holed up in their homes. All right, couple more coming up. So if you answered yes or even sort of, what platform does your department spend the most time using? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and they only let me do 5, so I couldn't put another, but those are the big ones. All right, almost everybody has voted. Oh boy, that we can see what dominates here. All right, closing on 3, 2, 1. 100% Facebook is your primary. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. And of course, LinkedIn is typically for professional posting, but certainly I know we have a strong presence there on LinkedIn. Emergency reporting and other fire agencies do as well. So that might be one worth exploring. But yeah, Facebook dominates. And personally, what are your personal thoughts about social media? Again, think just beyond your fire department and think of day to day what you do. You love it, you're addicted to it, hate it, it's the devil, or neutral, it's just another tool in today's modern world, and moderation is the key. All right, cool, you guys are fast on that one. Closing it on 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got some that can't get away from it, they're addicted. And I don't want to say I'm that, but I know with my job, I'm on it probably more than I should be, and not just job either. I shouldn't blame it on the job. And then hate it, it's the devil. Yeah, sometimes it can feel that way. And then I think the vast majority of us have a healthy perspective, or try to anyway. It's neutral, just another tool in today's modern world, which it is. It's a communications tool. I mean, I think it's so ubiquitous that you've got TV, you've got radio. It's again, it's moderation. So very cool. All right, thanks. That's it on the survey. Sure appreciate it. Gives us some good information about who's participating and just some perspectives. And we are lucky today to have our Director of Marketing here at Emergency Reporting, and she's going to start us off here in a few minutes about social media, because she is our social media guru in our organization. And I'll introduce her now, Andrea Hayes. She's been with us in marketing for 9 years, but with us at Emergency Reporting for 4, and I can attest to the incredible work that she does. So Andrea, anything you'd like to add?
Oh, thanks, Tom. No, just thanks for having me today, and thanks to everybody who's attending.
Cool. So you can kind of see the work that over the years, and it takes work to keep this, not only to get it to this level, but to keep it at this level. And you can see our followers on the different social media platforms. And I know without question, of all of the data management tools out there for fire departments, I don't think anyone has more than we do on Facebook. Would that sound about right, Andrea? I've seen some other pages and they don't even come close to our numbers.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was kind of fun. It was funny to see everybody's answers on what your personal feelings are on social media, because I know that before I got into marketing, I was really neutral about it. I didn't care very much. I wasn't like one of the first adopters of social media or anything like that, which a lot of marketing professionals will tell you they love it and gush about it. But I really learned to embrace it. It's been a really great tool for us here at Emergency Reporting. And just in that 9 years that I've been doing marketing, things have changed so much in the way that we reach people, the way that we can connect and communicate with our customer base. And social media has been a huge part of that.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see, what we share. And I think those of you, that's another question I should have asked is how many of you follow us on any of these platforms? Because we really try hard to communicate not only some fun things, and Andrew will get into that shortly, fun things about, the fire service and emergency services, but also keep you informed as to what's going on with our company so you can kind of feel in the loop and you've got some inside knowledge as well.
Mhm.
That's me. You guys have seen me here before. I've been with emergency reporting since 2011. I absolutely love working here. I get to work with people like Andrea. We have a common purpose, and I will say that uh, being in emergency reporting, working remotely. So we're headquartered in Bellingham. I'm based in Tucson, and then most of our business development team is scattered throughout the country, as is our training team. But when we all get together, whether it's physically at a conference, a meeting, or even online, we're like a fire station, a crew, C shift, right? C shift station 151, my crew. It's like a crew, except we're just spread out virtually because of how, we get along and have that common mission, and really support each other. We've got each other's back. So it's a terrific culture here. And I'm going to blow right through these because you guys know all about emergency reporting since everybody here today are users. But I can tell you that one of the things I want you to keep an eye out over the next few weeks, we do releases, every 2 weeks, as we've talked about before, but we've been doing what we call some hot fixes to bring you tools to help you better report COVID. And I know we'll be doing more of those in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for those. And again, through social media, we'll be communicating all of that, and then also with in-system announcements. So we're grateful to all your feedback too, because it's your feedback that has helped drive all of this. That's where we stand right now. This is updated regularly on our marketing page, which is just emergencyreporting.com, not the login page, but emergencyreporting.com. Well over 7,000 departments and 36 million incident reports filed. It's crazy. And you know all about our features. So, okay, so here's our objective today is how can I improve my social media program, and in the case of if you don't have one, how I can develop one in order to better deliver the message of fire and life safety. And then I know it's a little long-winded, but I had to add this. I need to be able to share information about my department's work in the community, because you've got to sometimes toot your own horn on your successes. And there's not really a better way to do that now than through social media. And I'll show you some great examples directly from our customers. All right, Andrea, take it away.
Okay, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So yeah, what are some good reasons to use social media for your fire department? So One is, like Tom mentioned, community education. So it's a great way to be able to support your community risk reduction efforts with some educational content. You can also use it to create interactive social experiences and to engage with other folks in your community. So it's a great way to incorporate videos. You can do live streaming and use humor to connect and engage with other folks that live in the same area as you or that are in the fire service.
Andrea
Um,
just
you,
mentioned, oh, sorry, go ahead, Andrea.
no, it's okay. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, when you mentioned humor, okay, what I have found, and I was actually a little surprised because I tend to more, when social media, I tend to more take a more serious tack sometimes, just who I am. But I found that a lot of our posts that get the most likes are usually the ones that have a little bit of humor with them.
Definitely. Some of my favorite ones to follow are the funny ones too. So we'll talk a little more about sort of deciding what kind of content to use for what you want to portray for your department. But humor is always a good one.
And
So
it can't be firehouse humor. Just be careful with that one.
yeah, you have to use your filters a little bit, that's for sure. I don't know if anybody on here follows Fire Department Chronicles. Jason is the main face of that, and definitely give it a Google if you don't. They're hilarious. I love watching all of their videos, and it's great fire EMS humor. So the last one is employee appreciation and recruiting. So this goes along with what Tom was talking about tooting your own horn a little bit. It's great to be able to highlight your crew's good work and attract new talent or volunteers through social media, and just to let the community know what are the good things that you're doing for them. What are some improvements you're making, and what's your day-to-day life like? And I even see some fire departments highlighting how can they help you. Like if you've got lights and sirens going, make sure everybody knows to get out of the way because you'd think that's obvious, but we all know that sometimes it's not for people. So it's a good way just to be able to highlight some of those things. And the average amount of time that people who have social media spend on it is over 2 hours a day. So it's a really effective way to reach a wide audience. You can go to the next one, Tom. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the different platforms. I saw that most of you are using Facebook, which is great. That's actually what I would recommend that you start with. But also just thinking about what is the cadence of the amount that you're posting and sort of trying to decide on what is the standard level of posts that you want to do every week is a good idea to kind of get an idea for that and try to stick to it, because to be really effective at reaching your audience and building followers, you need to be consistent to a certain extent. It's okay to do less and to have it mean more. So if you can really only commit to posting on Facebook once a week, but it's a really thoughtful post or really great content, then that's totally fine. It's also good to think about when you're on social media. I mean, there's so much content. So if you just post one time a week, it's a good chance that a lot of your followers aren't going to see it because maybe they're just not on at that time of day, or it just is going to get buried. So the typical cadence varies a little bit by platform, but for Facebook, I know for us, we try to post once a day on Facebook. For a fire department, it might be once or twice a week. That's ideal. And then there's also tools that you can buy. Hootsuite is the one that I have mentioned here. It's the most popular and probably the least expensive. And what it allows you to do is to log in. You could log in one day a week and schedule all of your social media posts across as many platforms as you'd like to go out automatically throughout the week.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I want to emphasize something Andrea said there on it's okay to do less and have it mean more. I think there's a lot of value in that because what happens there to me is that it builds up a trust that I know you're respecting the audience's time by putting something out that's going to be of value to them. And so all of our, a lot of our agencies, I know mine was, we're often strapped on, we wearing multiple hats, trying to do more volunteers. I have no idea how you guys keep up with everything. And so um, that statement there, I think, is key to a lot of what you're going to be doing. And then I know with Hootsuite that it does give you some automation that makes it a little easier, so you can kind of sit down, get it all knocked out for the month, and let it do its thing.
Mhm. Yes. So just going to go through a few of the different platforms, the most popular ones, and talk about what makes them unique and how you might use each one. So Facebook is the one it sounds like most of you are already using. 85% of internet users worldwide use Facebook. It's the most used social platform out there, and it has great tools for messaging, video, live streaming, and hosting your department's public information. A lot of businesses don't even have websites right now. They're just adopting a Facebook page because it's ranking in search engines when people are trying to find them, and it has ways for people to quickly communicate with them and to quickly find their contact information. I have a couple stats and demographics for each one of these as well, just because they're kind of interesting to keep in mind. Facebook has a really wide range in the age of the users. 32% of them are between the ages of 25 and 34. 69% of all adults in the United States are on Facebook. And video posts tend to get the highest level of engagement on Facebook. So when you measure how successful your posts are, it's not usually just how many views they get, how many times people have seen them. We like to look at how many people are actually engaging with them by liking them or sharing them or commenting in the comments. Okay.
Andrea, question for you. Of the different platforms you're going to be going through, generationally speaking, when you look at the young and let's say, 18 to 30, uh, which platform do the different age groups use most? I mean, I know we see here Facebook 32% are, the 25 to 34, but like those in their 20s, which one do they gravitate towards mostly?
So everybody uses Facebook the most, but there's definitely some social platforms that are a much younger crowd. So that 20 something range that you mentioned, YouTube is huge for them. And it's funny because even ones that I'm 30 and just looking at social media platforms, there's new ones coming up that I'm not really very familiar with yet that people who are in their young early 20s and late teens are using, like TikTok is one that's coming up that I'm like, okay, marketing homework, like I need to start researching this. So I think that's going to continue to happen too. There's going to be new platforms and new ways that younger folks are using more often. Instagram also tends to have like a very broad range of ages of people who are using it. Snapchat is really popular with a younger crowd, and LinkedIn seems to have the oldest crowd.
Yeah, that's for the people like me. Okay, very good.
Mhm. So YouTube is kind of forgotten about sometimes as a social media platform. We think of it more as, that's where I'm going to go to get my how-to videos when I need to do something. But it's it's also a great way to share your own content and to engage with people. So it's the second most widely viewed after Facebook. If you create a YouTube page, you'll probably need some team members who are comfortable being on camera to share news and reports and even department tours or other community events. If you want to do those things and you don't want to manage YouTube, you can do most of them on Facebook as well. But this is definitely another way to reach out to, or to reach another audience, a different audience. Tom and I were just talking because we've seen people doing some really cool things with this during the COVID-19 crisis. I recently saw a fire department doing drive-bys for a kid's birthday party that he couldn't have his party because of social distancing. So they did a drive-by and waved at him and made his day. And some fire departments are doing department tours or showing off their apparatus and inviting the community to have their kids come and join and watch and be engaged that way. Stats and demographics. So it's got 2 billion monthly users, and it's the second most viewed website worldwide after Google. 81% of US users are between the ages of 15 and 25. So you can see that's what I meant about it being a much younger crowd. And then 45% of the users are women and 55% are men. Go to the next one. Thanks. Instagram. I personally love Instagram because it's really low maintenance. So if you have an Instagram account, it's less of a commitment than YouTube or Facebook. It's really easy to use. It's a visual platform just for sharing photos, and anyone with a decent camera on their cell phone can contribute to it. You could share your photos of your staff or your department, apparatus, community events, and more. Some I've seen fire departments show off their workouts on here using Instagram Live, and sort of give people tips on how to stay fit and healthy. And then just also, it's got a great hashtag program. So if you use hashtags, then you can see in the examples on here, they've got firefighter, Philadelphia, Philly, training, day in the life, first responder. All of those are going to be searchable. So folks who are interested in those hashtag topics can find you and engage with you that way. It's really good for local use. So we use Bellingham, Washington, where we're from, or you'll mention local businesses and things like that, and it helps to create a following of people who are in your community. It's got over 1 billion active monthly users, and then 35% of the users are between ages 25 and 34. Go ahead and go to the next one, Tom. Thanks. Twitter. So Twitter is another platform that's really easy to set up and manage. It's often used for sharing news and public statements. Even the President of the United States prefers this platform for sharing information. And a post on Twitter is called a tweet. It can include photos and video, and it's used by a lot less people than Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So 22% of all adults in the US are on Twitter. 29% of Twitter users are between the ages of 25 and 34. It's got a wider range of age groups. And 80% of tweets are generated by only 20% of users. So this might be a good platform to have to follow other folks in your community, other leaders in the fire service and decision makers about budgets and things like that. It's a good way to get some news. And yeah, that you can go to the next one, Tom. Thanks.
Okay, that 80-20 rule, we joke in the fire service that 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. That's not true, but we joke about that. So it's an interesting statistic there.
Yeah, I thought so too. Can we go to the next slide, Tom?
Oh, didn't it go to
Thanks.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Tom mentioned that this is a really great space for building a personal page and managing your personal brand, which that sounds a little, I don't know, businessy and like a lot of work, maybe having a personal brand, but really you probably you already have one. You're already working on it all the time. That's one interesting thing about this age and social media is that if you go to apply for a job, they're probably going to look at your LinkedIn. They might check out your social media platforms and make sure that you're posting things that align with their values to a certain extent. And people, love it or hate it. It's just reality now. So LinkedIn gives you a good place to focus on creating content and sharing some of the wisdom that you've developed in your experience working in the fire service or really throughout any profession that you might have had. It's really easy to use as well, and it's also a great place to follow other people that you admire, but it's strictly professional. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping things a more professional tone while you're on there. And only 27% of all adults in the US are on LinkedIn. Yeah, so some tips to get started. If you are falling in the category of you either don't have a social media presence yet or only sort of, so maybe you're just not maintaining it as much as you'd like to, some helpful tips might be here. So always post a photo or a video. If you have some sort of visual aid on your post, it's going to get more attention. Designating 1 to 2 administrators on your social media accounts is a good rule of thumb. You want to be really careful to keep the password secure and to be able to know who has access so that you know who posted what and you can sort of moderate what is going on there. Number 3 is a good one. So come up with a mission statement or a goal for your social media page. Our mission at ER is to educate and inspire first responders through meaningful and helpful content. And we try to be funny. That's literally a part of our mission statement. So we want to keep it kind of light and fun and friendly, but we also want to be helpful and meaningful, and we're focused on first responders. That's our audience. So we have a brand voice that we've created through our marketing that we keep in mind through any external communication, and that applies also to our social media. I think it helps a lot to go through the activity of brainstorming and kind of summarizing how you want to be viewed in your community and what type of content you want to share so that you can be consistent and therefore more meaningful and connect better with your audience. And then number 4 is you don't have to come up with all of your own content. It's okay to reshare some posts from pages with related content, and also to reshare your own content once or twice. So if you posted something a few months ago that's still relevant that you want to bring back and use as another post, that's okay to do because not everybody is always going to see everything you post. Okay?
Okay to go next?
Yeah, thanks. So one final tip that we found really helpful is to find and follow other pages or hashtags that you'd like to emulate or that you want to follow for inspiration. So we've got a few here. We follow some of the larger fire departments across the country. I follow fire trade shows, so like Interschutz, the largest fire and first responder trade show in the world, is one that I follow that has good content. And then with hashtags, so if you go onto Twitter or you go into Instagram and you go into your search and look for different hashtags, like you could do firefighters or EMS humor or whatever you'd like there, you can follow those as well. And then you get a really wide range of different pages and different departments that are posting that you can check out and see what you want to follow. And I think that was my last one.
Awesome, Andrea. Thank you so much. Stick around and chime in too as we go through some of the additional conversation here. And so to piggyback onto what Andrea said, and great job, by the way, Andrea, your insight's wonderful. And when you guys, one of the things I want to mention quickly here is when it pertains to emergency reporting in social media, Andrea's she is our guardian of the brand. And so when you see us across the different platforms, whether it's our website, the different social media and so forth, we want you to have that one, we're adhering to our mission statement, but that you kind of know and feel that, hey, this is emergency reporting, just like some of the other brands that you might love out there. We think we have a very valuable brand, and a lot of that is attributable to Andrea and her team in getting the word out. And so we always look for feedback for sure, but we're grateful to all of you for following us on any of these platforms, so you can stay up to date with what we do as a company, as well as maybe get a little laugh now and then as well. So being effective and setting expectations. So with social media, one of the things, and I'll share some examples from my department that I ran into, some real world examples, but I'm going to share with you, once we get through this deck, some examples of social media policy. It is imperative, I believe, just as you might have a mission statement about what the purpose of your social media program is going to be, you've got to have a strong policy in place, because we're firefighters and we will push the boundaries. And so you want to have clarity and of your expectations on the front end, and the best way to do that is through a policy. And a policy is different than a guideline. A policy is to be adhered to, right? We always debate guidelines versus policies. And so there's some examples here. Small and medium departments. So we've got Phoenix Fire. I've learned a lot from them over the years. Big fan, always been, admirer of Chief Brunacini and his legacy. And then you've got, a small volunteer fire department. And I just grabbed these from doing a search on the web. But again, it doesn't matter if you're a 1-station volunteer department in Pennsylvania or if you are a 40-station department in Florida, you've got to have a policy. And we'll show you some examples and content here. So how can we help you develop a strong social media program? Because a lot of what social media is about is communicating the successes of your department. And so I'm going to put forth some reports, and these reports I'm sharing, many of them have charts built in. And you can see on the right, Anniston Fire, they're a customer. They run report 553, screenshot it, and post it. right there. That's our report that they share, that they just shared 23 hours ago, because I just grabbed this from them for their March statistics. Again, you're not getting into any HIPAA violations. You're summarizing what your department's doing. And so, again, with resources limited, some of the tools in our system can help you communicate your effectiveness in the community. The one on the left, 495, it's major incident types by month. So if you wanted to generate one, and then there's more, if I were able to scroll down in that report, but run these reports in your account and see if it's something that you can communicate out. Now, one of the things I want to mention too is the conversation should be had amongst leadership as to what you want to disseminate, okay, because you want to exercise caution on what you're disseminating, that it's digestible and understandable by the public. We have some reports that, one I'm going to mention to you, if you want to write this down, is report 1420. I don't have it in my deck here. I absolutely love that report because it shows you where your peak volume is in runs by hour, by day of the week. Now, if you were to put that up in a post in social media, it's going to bewilder the average viewer. But you could take that report and make it more digestible by working with it in Excel with different charts. But write that down, 1420. I'm a big fan of that report only because of the story it tells. Some other ones I want you to consider, again, because of the high level look of your agency, or it has a pretty cool chart. Say you want to show, how busy your different stations are. Now, some agencies may not want to share that. So again, these are just potential suggestions, but report number 3, incidents per station for date and time range. And then report 1645 is a summary of incident statistics. Now, keep in mind, you can screenshot only what you want to share. So if there's parts of it you don't wish to share, don't do it. But again, this is trusted statistics from within your organization based on data being entered into your emergency reporting account that you might find valuable in sharing with the public. 2 more, report 968. So again, you may want to trim this up and maybe not show the incident number, for example, or maybe even the pre-incident value. It all depends. But that last column, boy, that's a celebration, right? If you can show what you've saved throughout the year. Now, this is just one example of a department that just joined us not too long ago. They've been blurred to protect the innocent, but nonetheless, if you've been using our system correctly and documenting the losses, we have a report now that shows you right there the save, because that's what we want to show, is not, okay, we lost this compared to the pre-incident value. Well, what did we save per incident? And that can show your effectiveness. Maybe it shows, how great your resource level is, that you've got tremendous saves, you have good response times, you're getting water on the fire and quickly, or maybe it needs some work and maybe it's a tool to communicate, you need more funding and more resources. Report 1774. That one, now you won't necessarily publish this one on social media, but I mention it because it's a newer report and it's another way to celebrate what you're doing in the community by the events that you enter into the system. So you can say, all right, we've done so many car seats this month. Now, again, you'll have to work with this because you're probably not going to put all the details of each car seat check that this report shows, but the summaries there, right, the totals, you did fire drills and we've connected with 529 students this month. Okay, that's some great storytelling out there, and maybe you'll get phone calls. Hey, you didn't come to our school. We want you to come and do a fire drill or do a public ed demo, all because they saw it on social media. So again, it's a balance, right? You don't want to just bombard the community with statistics and snapshots from ER reports, but again, interspersed with the humor, interspersed with the people and what you're doing. These can be pretty valuable in showing your community what you're contributing.
Yeah, I might add, Tom, too, that showing what does this mean to you? So not just showing the chart or the graph, but what is your key takeaway or your key insight, and sharing that with your audience as well is really helpful, because otherwise they might not know how to interpret these things or understand what the importance and value of them are.
That is an excellent point, and the reason, and Andrea is spot on there, because don't assume they understand what you understand. You and I can go into any of these reports and make sense of it almost immediately. That's not going to be the case with the public. In fact, it would be the case with some of your stakeholders. You've got to simplify it and ask yourself, if I know nothing about the fire department, what is this telling them about who we are and what we do? And if there's any confusion, then you got to refine that message and make it simpler, because again, people are thumbing through, scrolling through these things quickly. You want them to just pause for a second, go, hey, that's my fire department. That's pretty cool. That's kind of part of that objective there. How else can we do this? Okay, so here's our library module. All right, now this may seem, well, a library module, what does that have to do with social media? We're not going to post anything from our library module into social media. You're right, you probably won't. However, this particular category, fire department administration, you will want to put your social media policy and park it in this folder, okay? The other thing you can do is have a folder that you create here in the library category where you might put some resources for social media, for example. So again, you're going to limit probably who manages it, but certainly if you need to put resources, photos, documents, reports that you take the PDF of, you can certainly create a category and subcategories to store some of that content here in our library as a resource to where people can go to that are managing your social media and grab what they need or see what you posted in the past as far as content items. So just a suggestion, you may have some others, but certainly take advantage of our, I call this kind of like our box or Dropbox or OneDrive for your fire agency, because it allows you to store material, documents securely and have it in a single source, single place where people can get it as they need to. And so policies, certainly social media policy, as well as any content that you may consider storing, could be placed here. Again, and you may have some other ideas as how this could work. So the events, I'm going to show you a couple things in my account. So we don't want to overwhelm you with mining data, but you may want to be able to determine how successful a particular campaign might be. And so say you're doing your department, and right now you're doing a hand washing social media campaign on Facebook. I'll show you how I set up categories and types here, and then you can extract data from report 1774 based on the data you enter here. And so you have a lot of it's easy to use this, and you can then tell the chief without having to scroll to that post or to see how many people liked it or not. You can just enter it here and then run a report to see, one, how many people liked it or connected with you on that particular post, and then run report 1774 to celebrate that. So I'll show you how to set that up. So let's get in there right now, and we'll do a few things there. Let me rearrange my screen in just a second. Good. Okay, so there's my Facebook post, and here's my mantra. It always has been my mantra here is, one, headline test, okay? Even though it's your personal site, people know you as you associate as a firefighter in your community, most likely, or a member of your fire department. So I highly, highly recommend being smart here, because I always believed in the fire when I was on the job, and even now I represent emergency reporting. What I say and do here not only reflects upon me, but reflects upon my organization as well. So if you are like a typical firefighter and like to celebrate the fact that you are one at some level, keep in mind that you're also representing your organization on the personal level. Be smart about it. Examples, two of them for you. One, I'm going to share something with you too here in a minute. A really cool, this one. I want to go to that and show you, and it's going to kind of supplement what Andrea was talking about earlier. But two examples. One, in my department, we had an issue with our Pima County Board of Supervisors did not vote for us to annex a certain part of the county that we wanted to expand into. A firefighter subsequently posted something about that particular council member that changed her mind, something to the effect of, well, how can you live with yourself at night? Something derogatory. And I said, you got to take that down, man. You're representing us, and people are going to see that, and there might be a vote down the road where could be affecting us positively that could turn sour based on comments like that. And so I'll show you an example within a policy where that particular example could be thwarted if you have a clear policy in place. The other example comes from a hospital. There was a post, okay, there was a post of an injury. All you could see was the injury on an extremity, right? Arm or leg, I forget which it was. But that person was identified at working at that hospital. Okay, the patient was not identified, no HIPAA violation supposedly, but because they posted some sort of gruesome injury, I guess, I don't know, they lost their job over it. And so you've got to be wise on what you're posting. And so we'll come to this in a minute, but this one is so interesting. I want to show it to you later. So again, you can just kind of see my feed here. And then I'm going to go to a couple other agencies. One is near us in Tucson. This is the Northwest Fire District. But one of the things I noticed on the news is this. You scroll down and I'm going to show you what they're doing here. They're doing short, so this is a short blurb about for insight on washing your hands and germs, a short for safe kids, and they're doing a lot of their public education online and using social media to do that in short segments to help them communicate and get the message out, because they're not going to schools. No one's in school. All right, people aren't coming to the fire stations for tours like Andrea had mentioned. And so how can we still stay connected with our community and provide value? And so they're putting together, it doesn't have to be complex. It's just videos, even just, messages in this time, and hopefully getting people to join. And no better way to join, because our local CBS affiliate did a news story on exactly what they're doing. So then there's even more exposure, and more people will start following your Facebook or social media feeds. So that's one example. Whoops. Here's one from one of our customers. Love this. So this is Lower Merion, Pennsylvania. Fantastic group of people that absolutely love working with them. And they scheduled a virtual tour live on Facebook. So we've done live feeds, live streams from FDIC and some other events we've done in emergency reporting, but now they took it to another level to do a virtual firehouse tour. Now, if I'm home going crazy with my kids, trying to homeschool them for this temporary period, and I can teach them fire safety and give them a tour of my fire station virtually, that's pretty fun. So things like that are really cool. And behind the scenes, look at the firehouse. I mean, how cool is that? So that's one from our customer. Another one, Aniston, I showed you this one earlier, just posted 23 hours ago, directly from emergency reporting's report 553. Okay, so this one, just quickly, how COVID-19 has impacted media consumption by generation. I'm going to put this in the chat, and that way you guys can look at it. This site is particularly cool when it comes to, and I'm kind of a data geek and I like this stuff, but this one, let me post it and then I'll scroll down to show you. And again, it's to kind of reinforce Andrea's message on the different generations, what they're doing online, and this can help you create and hone your social media program. So if I want to connect with those 16 to 23, yeah, they're on videos. I need to focus on that. If I want to connect with the millennials, videos are strong and streaming, so it's still pretty good there. Maybe I do podcasts, okay? Music, well, that's music streaming. Podcast, maybe not, that's lower, sorry. Online press, Gen X, me, so watching a lot of TV apparently, but again, video appears to be king, right? So you can explore that one. Here's my LinkedIn page. Nope, that's my Facebook page. There's my LinkedIn. So again, more professional, have a good image of who you are, and if it's your organization, highlight a truck or a station, and then of course, like the other platforms, that you can post things. But you'll notice the tone here is very geared towards the professional community. And Andrea, like Andrea said, guaranteed you apply for a job, they're looking here. And other fire departments, if you're going to go to other fire departments, they will look here as well. Here's our YouTube channel. All right, so we're at about 180 some videos, 1.39, so about 1,390 subscribers. Again, video, right? This is second search site next to Google itself. And I think Google actually owns this, if I'm not mistaken. So they're king for sure. Okay, and then let's get into, and again, I'm gonna put that link in there so you guys don't have to dig for it. So, click on these links and bookmark them as we go through it. So some articles here. You can do this simple search, social media for fire departments, right? So here's one, and relatively recent, right? Because this is a dynamic environment we're in. So try to find some recent articles. But again, the importance of embracing social media in your fire department. And so pretty much Andrea could have wrote this, but nonetheless, it's another author and gives you some examples. And if you don't have a designated public information officer, social media officer, however the title is nowadays, there's a lot of wisdom in having that right now. Don't be this guy. 5 ways to destroy your firefighting career on social media. Again, when you're developing, if you don't have one, a policy, some of these articles, I sent it over in chat, some of these articles can guide you. And also, when you are communicating this to the troops, these examples will kind of, set the boundaries, give and show where, we've seen it, right? You guys can probably give me examples of where any one of these 5 have happened and you're just hosed. It's not a good day. So again, some good authors out here putting out some content in the community, in the literature to help you.
Yeah, these are great examples, and I think another thing that I didn't mention that would be a good thing to consider is just not assuming that this is all common sense. I think a lot of us think of it that way, like, of course you wouldn't do any of those 5 ways to destroy your firefighting career, but it happens all the time. And I think especially with the younger generation growing up with such a sense of this is my personal views and this is okay and this is my page, and just having that idea in their head about this is how I engage with the world is through these social media pages and with all my friends. A lot of times some extra training goes a long way in just pointing out the obvious and also pointing out, like, you are now representative of our fire department. These things might have been okay, or, you might have thought that they were okay in the past. They're definitely 100% not now. And having that policy that Tom's been talking about can really help to clarify those and just make it crystal clear.
Yep, spot on, Andrea. And keep in mind too, and I'm going to say this, and it may just be an opinion, but I'd like to know, what you guys think as I mentioned this is what might be okay to post or okay, sort of okay to post as a civilian, all right, might not be okay to post as a firefighter. And I'm only going to say that because of I think our community, like the military, okay, like law enforcement, and we're held to a higher standard by our community. We are, whether we want to be or not, we are pillars in our community. People know we have stickers on our car that announce that we're firefighters. We're proud of that. And yeah, we do very meaningful and noble work. I strongly believe that. Make sure that same nobility and respect carries into what you do on social media. I can't emphasize that enough, and you will stay out of trouble, guaranteed. But one slip on any of these, it's not a good day for your department. It's going to be unfun. All right.
I recently read an article about a gal who she mentioned something about being hungover on her page, but it happened to be a day where she had an appointment for work where she was meeting with one of their clients later on in the day, and she was fired. And just instantly, and she was talking about how she felt like it was a gray area and a gray line, or, kind of blurred lines. And so there's just so many variations of these 5 things here that are good things to clarify and to bring specific examples to your team with.
And as we look at the policies, I'm going to pull up Phoenix's in particular, only because this is very comprehensive. 2 things that will be thrown at you. Well, free speech. No, not at work, and I'm no lawyer, but you can look that up and see what the legal opinion is on free speech at the workplace. And secondly, if you are using company devices, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. And whether you agree with that or not, it's true, and you can see some of the legal studies on that, as there's your First Amendment right. You're infringing on my First Amendment right. Well, you don't have as much as you think when you're at work and when you're representing work. So exercise caution there. And again, I won't even pretend to be a legal scholar, but I've read a little bit to know that you've got to exercise caution. Take advantage of things like this. The International Fire Chiefs, they have a social media toolkit. Check this out. Introduction, Facebook 101, all the things Andrea went over. Andrea, did you write these? And you can basically follow this to help build your program. And these chiefs, this organization, many of you are probably members, they put together a nice toolkit. So I'm going to put that in the chat as well. We just want you to have resources to be as successful as possible. All right, so now we're going to go into a couple policies and then we'll go into emergency reporting and we'll let you guys go. Here's a volunteer department, lands down. Again, I just grabbed this from the internet, did a quick search. And so you can see, well, who can and can't do it. It's keep your policies consistent, purpose, definitions, and so forth. You'll see that that's the running organization, the running theme throughout these policies, where it's you've got a purpose statement, you've got definitions in case there's any jargon in there that needs clarity, the scope of the policy, social media, personal, and so forth. Okay. Then we've got Phoenix, and again, let's skip over to this one. Here's one from Westbrook. Again, lots of good examples here. So fire service, we're good at pilfer, plagiarizing, and perfecting. It's okay to do that because there's no sense in reinventing the wheel when other agencies have shared this. And when they share it publicly, you can use it and modify it to meet your own organization or at least get ideas. So let me go to Phoenix's. I've highlighted some things here in Phoenix's. My control panel out of the way. Okay, I'm just going to go through my highlighted ones and then you guys can I didn't highlight everything throughout. It's a 10-page document, so these are not short documents in many cases, but a purpose statement, communicating with our diverse audiences is important, and we recognize the value of social networking to enhance the way we engage with our customers, build new relationships, and initiate conversations about Phoenix Fire Department services. That's a great sentence right there. Scrolling down, there's our definitions. So what's a platform? What's professional networking? Again, very thorough. Again, I apologize. I know scrolling is not fun when you're on the screen, so I'll go through as quickly as possible. Okay, employees may express themselves as private citizens on social media site, so you can certainly do that. Should not be considered anonymous, kind of goes without saying. But here, personal social media postings that relate to coworkers, other city employees, and so forth can be considered part of a human resources or equal opportunity investigation. If you take nothing away, you've heard this before, the headline test, all right? That sums it up. If it's not something you'd feel comfortable seeing in the media, being seen by coworkers, or I would say being seen by your mom or your grandma, don't post it. I mean, now here's where Andrea said that those 5 things that we showed previously, the 5 ways to kill your career, emotion kicks in and you want to just react. That's where that 10-second count will prevent you from doing really something you're going to regret. Now, keep in mind too, if you post something on the internet, so you've heard the thing, anything you post on the internet is there forever. Now, granted, you could delete your whole Facebook account, but what if someone has screenshotted that or shared it elsewhere? You know, is it gone forever? I don't know. So again, keep all of that in mind. And I'll let you look at these here. This just says perception, right? If you have yourself in turnouts or in your uniform on your personal site and you're representing your department, you're creating perception. And perception to others is reality. So again, keeping that in mind. You can't give the appearance that you're speaking on behalf of the fire department. And I think that may be all I've highlighted just because, I mean, we could go on, but yeah, I think that's where I stop. But nonetheless, I just wanted to share some things that struck me as very important as you're creating your policy. And keep in mind, depending on if you have a career department and you work with labor, you need to work super closely with them. And if you've got a contract, if you have a memorandum of understanding, include them. This is not created in a vacuum, otherwise you won't get buy-in. All right, so again, I didn't ask that question if you have a policy in place, but if those of you that don't, now's the time to create one. And if you do, it's probably the time to review it and see where it stands. Okay, let me show you a couple other quick things here. And then we'll open it up to questions and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so here I am in my demo account. I want to show you something that I organized for events. Now it'll be up to you if you want to take this step, but I thought it might be valuable to you to show you. You can create a category called social media, which I did, and then under type, so that's the big folder, and these are the types that are in this folder. And so here, I put a prefix social media and I group them together, otherwise it'll be alphabetical and you'll be scrambling to find them in a drop-down list. So prefix SM, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any others you might use. And then I went ahead and created, hope I saved it. I didn't, but I'll create one anyway. So when we create a new event, Okay, so maybe this is our COVID safety campaign. Social media type. This one we're going to be on Facebook. We're going to start it on April 1st at midnight. We're going to end it on April 30th. And the latest time we have here is 11:45, so it takes it to the end of the month. Now I could add personnel here that are involved or not, depending on how you wish to do it. And then you could location, Facebook, and that's really all you need to do. A summary of what that campaign's about. Now there's maybe no personnel attending, but based on the responses you get for your posts, now you won't necessarily know if they're children, adults, or seniors. That's difficult to do here, but you can certainly put it under adults and at least say, okay, this campaign based on likes, all right, based on replies, garnered, 1,000 responses, for the different posts. And then by doing that, okay, and that could be enough. I can lock this event, create it, and now we're good to go. So now if I run report 1774, and again, I'm doing this fast, you'll refine it and make it a little bit cleaner here, but I want to at least show you the output that you can show to the chief. Okay. And then he says, well, where'd you get that number? Well, you can go to Facebook and, show them where you uh, collected all that, because this may be part of multiple posts, right? Not just one. So I think there's opportunity here to show your reach, and this report does a fantastic job of doing it. Does it require some data entry in the events module? Yes, but thankfully that module is streamlined and makes it very, very easy to do this. Again, just one example of how you can tie your social media campaigns and your social media presence with what you do in emergency reporting. And again, I won't go through again to show you those different reports because the demo account won't be as good as your account to running those various reports I gave examples of earlier. But those are ways to, again, I like to use the word celebrate your successes and contributions to the community. And there's people watching. They're always watching us. I mean, we're in the public eye even when we don't think we're in the public eye with little things. So that's all I've got for today. Does anyone have any questions? Andrea, anything you'd like to add?
No, that was great what you just showed. Thanks, Tom.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing your expertise and for all you do for us and in our social media presence. Anyone participating have any questions for me or Andrea? Please look at those links that I sent you. I think it'll get you in the right direction. Kervin, you're very welcome. And we'll cut you guys loose a few minutes early. Have a good day. Stay safe. Thank you for all that you do in your communities. And Andrea, thanks for leading today's presentation. I sure appreciate you being here.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
I just make sure, Sean, I think. Oh, the events module video. Oh yeah, great. Yeah, Sean likes the events module, so idea for that. So again, something to consider to tell your story. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody.